Welcome back to this, the final segment of today's Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Do want to mention that today's program brought to you in part by G&A Partners, and delighted to be able to spend time with my good friend Tony Powers talking about what's happening out there in the political front. Tony, hey, tell me a little bit about what is going on with your ITalkUS.com.
Well, we're trying to grow it to stations all over the country. We're trying to add stations now, and if anybody would like, they can go to ITalkUS.com and just click on that Fund Freedom icon at the top of the page, and they can help us do that. One thing we need to do now more than ever is make sure that the truth is getting out to the people all across the country. And there's a huge vacuum out there that's not being filled, and we're trying to do that.
Yeah, it sure is huge, and it sure is difficult to fill. When you talk to people, you were talking about the IRS story. I'd like you to kick around my story, which I still believe is Obamacare. I still believe Obamacare resonates more than any other issue with people, simply because there's this cliche. What is a conservative? Conservative is a liberal that's been mugged. There's not a single policy in modern times that have affected more people than Obamacare. There simply isn't in terms of being taxed or regulated and forced to have their lives changed. And that still remains, regardless of the fact that the media is trying to project all the problems are gone. The fundamental problems of it now costing, on average, 75% more or even higher to get insurance than it did before, being forced to go to the doctor every year, even if that's not something that you wanted to do. You wanted a competitive insurance company that would make you be incentivized to do that, but not so prohibitively taxed that you had to do that. Things like that. I think there's a lot of liberals that have been mugged.
Oh, yeah. Well, today there's a new study out. I think I saw this story in Town Hall today where the average individual market premiums are going to soar 49%. And it's even worse if you're a young person. For men overall, individual market premiums went up in 91% of all the counties across the country. And for 27-year-old men, the average county faced 91% increases. And for 40-year-old men, 60% increases. For 64-year-old men, 32%. Women, they fared a little bit better. Their premiums only went up in 82% of all counties. And it is incredible. I mean, you remember when Obama was selling this thing, of course, if you like your doctor, you can keep him. If you like your plan, you can keep it. But the big thing that was a selling point, I think, to a lot of people was that it was going to cost an average family of $4,000 to $2,500 less a year. Now we find out that your premiums are going to go up 49% is on the low end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to be paying $2,500 more a year.
and then what kind of...
For the illusion of healthcare, by the way, great article at usdailyreview.com on this high-priced illusion of universal coverage.
Oh, sure. Well, if you've got coverage and you're paying, let's say you were paying about $3,000 to $5,000 a year for your premiums, now you're paying 49% more for that. And your deductible has suddenly shot up to $5,000 to $10,000. So it doesn't even start paying until you've hit your $5,000 deductible. So you really don't have insurance. You just have something that is, as you say, it's kind of like the pretense of having insurance, but you don't. You may have a card, but it doesn't get you anything.
Right. Ain't that the truth? So those are two of the big issues. The IRS scandal, certainly one that I think is going to resonate. The Obamacare. What other ones are your audience talking about?
Well, this immigration deal, and of course...
And that hits right here, very hard, as you can imagine, here in Texas.
Oh, well, yeah, and your governor, what are they saying? They're spending $1.6 million a week now to send additional people down to the border to try to control this influx.
Yeah, and unfortunately it takes weeks for word to get spread, in the supply chain in, Mexico and Central America, that now is probably one of the worst times. We're actually prepared for those people coming in to try to make that move.
Well, the sad thing is you're right. They're not getting the message down in Central America. As a matter of fact, the message they have been getting for a long time is that, hey, now's the time. If you can get in before July, you're home free if you can get to the United States. So that's why we're seeing this sudden surge. what was it, just about 6,000 across the border a few years ago. Now we're up to 60,000. It looks like probably 90 before we get through the end of the year. And next year they're projecting 150,000. We can't afford this. It's untenable.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think that, it's a crisis. And this administration is doing very little to deter it. And our governor, Rick Perry, he's got a pretty good size platform to speak on, but we really need the White House saying, hey, this isn't smart, this isn't sensible, people need to wait. And what it does is it proves all of the concerns, all the red flags that the critics of the White House immigration approach have had. It proves it. It proves that we were correct.
Well, they're not doing anything to discourage it. They're doing things to encourage it. And what they're trying to do is use this crisis as just another way to force Congress into trying to pass comprehensive immigration reform before the election. They want Republicans with that albatross around their neck between now and November. And if the Republicans fall for it, they're foolish. But what they're doing is they're trying to make this thing look so horrible. Oh, we've got to do something. Our immigration laws are broken. Well, they're broken because the administration is breaking them. And that's the message we need to get out there. Is this is a crisis that was created by this administration, and their solution to it is to make it worse.
Yep, no question about it. Talking to Tony Powers, he's with ITalkUS.com. A very thoughtful, very bright commentator on what's happening in our society today. What do you think about the elections? I keep getting told that this is the year of the Republican for the U.S. Senate. How do you feel about the situation?
Well, I don't know. If you look at Obama's numbers, it came out yesterday, and you got to figure that the Democrats are going to be tied to Obama in the election. And right now, he's faring worse than George W. Bush did after Katrina. We're seeing polls now where Obama is less trusted to be anyhow competent, less than George Bush right after Katrina. So. And of course, when you look at people who say he can't lead the country, that's about 60% now. So basically, I think he's a lame duck. But the problem is, even a lame duck president still has a whole lot of power, and he still has that pen, and he still has that phone. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot more bad news coming our way in the next 2 years.
Well, we need to take away his inkwell because this is ridiculous. This guy is arbitrary. He's arrogant. He is dictatorial in the way he does things. And any other president would have been facing impeachment with 2 years in power, not well into his sixth year. And for those who think he's, a lame duck, as you pointed out, I agree he's lame, but I don't think he's a lame duck. I think he's going to continue to be incredibly effective simply because, in a very terrible way, simply because of the impotence when it comes to Congress.
Well, 5 days before he went into office, he stated, in 5 days we are going to begin to fundamentally transform America. And I think that's what he wants his legacy to be. Everybody's saying, well, his popularity's down. Oh, this is horrible for the president. I don't think he really cares about the poll numbers. He has a legacy he wants to leave, and that is to fundamentally transform America into the socialist regime that he has always dreamed it should be.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. Tony Powers, ITalkUS.com. Always depressed after I talk to you, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
Well, have a good week, Kevin. It'll get better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, when we come back tomorrow, much more for you. We do want to remind you the best content here. It shows up over there at usdatareview.com. I'm Kevin Price. Have a great day. Spend it right here.